This episode of the Play the Game podcast is brought to you by LoneWolfPaintball.com. And when it comes to paintball, Lone Wolf is the name you can trust. They have been in the game since the very beginning as Michigan's premier field and supplier since 1987, and Lone Wolf has built a legacy of excellence, passion, and service that runs deep in the game. From their top-tier customer service to same-day shipping on all orders, Lone Wolf makes sure that you are locked and loaded with your new gear fast. No waiting around, no hassle, just the best brands in paintball delivered straight to your door. They've got it all. Markers, loaders, tanks, apparel, accessories, and more from all of your favorite brands. And whether you're just getting started in the game or gearing up for your next big event, LoneWolfPaintball.com has everything you need. Be sure to check out their YouTube channel at Lone Wolf Paintball and follow them on Instagram at Lone Wolf PB to stay up to date on all the latest gear, exclusive sales, and community content. At Play the Game Podcast, we are incredibly grateful for Lone Wolf's continued support, and we cannot wait for you to become a part of their growing community. Head on over to LoneWolfPaintball.com right now and gear up with the best in the game. PTG family, thank you so much for being here. Are you interested in getting your brand in front of the Play the Game community? We are opening up advertising opportunities on the Play the Game podcast, and if you've got a company, a product, or a brand you want to promote to our passionate and growing community, this is your chance. Please send us over a message on Instagram at Play the Game Podcast to learn how we can collaborate and help you grow your business through the PTG platform. Once again, head over to Instagram, send us a message at Play the Game Podcast, and we look forward to connecting and helping you build something truly amazing together.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another excellent episode of Play the Game. We've had banger after banger, and this is no different. We have none other than Tom Cole, president of NXL and Major League Paintball, on the show to talk about all of the upcoming changes to 2026 and some very exciting developments. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
What is up, PTG Nation? You're locked in to the Play the Game podcast, and we have an amazing special guest on the show, the president of NXL and Major League Paintball, the man leading the biggest charge for the momentum of our sport at the grandest scale. So thank you, Tommy. It's good to see you. Everybody welcome Tom Cole to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man.
Good introduction, though. I feel good about that.
Let's go. Heck
yeah,
Tyler's
been crushing the intros, which is
his voice
nice,
is really good too. He's getting that, that Maddie voice.
We're working it.
Ooh,
we're working it.
Ooh. Maddie,
I don't know if I can ever attain that level, but we're
I just watched the ESPN show this weekend, and Maddie did a really good job.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They crushed it on that. Yeah, it was cool to see Matt and Todd Martinez in the booth again.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
We got to get him in the mix again. He's ready. He's ready to be up there in the booth.
He's hilarious too, right?
He's
hilarious.
He's really funny, witty, keeps it engaging, but he also has a really great sports mind. So I feel like he does such a good job commentating because he sounds like a professional analyst. He's I think Todd's one of the best up there.
It's unfortunate because we ended up replacing Mike Jeffries with him, right? And Mike Jeffries did an amazing job as well, right?
Yes.
It just came to the fact that him and Maddie were almost the same kind of person. And it's like having, 3 snake guys when you really need a snake guy and a Dorito guy, right? So that's kind of where we were at.
You think
Mike's been doing good.
You think who and Maddie's kind of the same person?
Mike Jeffries was kind of had the same tone, whereas Todd will play off of him, right?
Yeah,
so
that's fair. Yeah,
it's a different kind of thing.
I think Mike does a great job too, though. He's really
great job.
Yeah, he's really creative.
I watched ESPN, and both of them did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was crazy being at the back at Disney World, playing in that stadium. The ambiance was really nice, having all the people there. They were really excited to cheer for us. It was cool.
That's why my picture here, one of our big focuses this year is the ambiance, right? Not just for the pros, but obviously for the spectators, right? I think that's one of the things, if we learn anything from Banana Ball or any of that kind of stuff, it's that that fan experience is important. And we need to really start up in our game. I mean, I don't think I needed to help these guys. They were well on their way to being happy, but
Those guys look like they're rocking, dude. PTG alumni. We got to get
great.
hats right there.
So yeah, we'll try and make that happen.
Yeah, for everybody, check out the YouTube page. Please go subscribe as well if you haven't already. Tom has the VIP in the background for the show right now. And we also, for the first time ever, have the GOAT Squad that is live in the show with us. They're in the chat hanging out. So shout out to the GOATs. What's going on?
Shout out to the GOATs. Actually, we're talking about the ambiance and all of that in the, VIP in the background. So we'll pull up this question right now, Tom, from Rounder. He wants to know, Tom, I heard the pros still can't go in the stands at events without paying. Can we please get the pros in there for free? So far, only coaches can. One, I didn't know if this was true or not. I thought that the pros did get into the stands, knock on wood, haven't quite had issues. But what's the case with this, Tom?
So we've because of the free viewing area we downsized the grandstands, right? And so really what the primary goal of the grandstands is if you got a family coming up, driving 3 hours to come watch the pros play, we want them to have a guaranteed seat, right? And at some point in time, we only have 200 seats, whatever it is, you know what I mean? There's not that many seats. And if you add up how many pros there are, there's a lot of them. So we ended up kind of like, pushing those guys out of there. So we are working something with the coaches. I believe the coaches get a free pass. And we're working something out with the owners of the teams and get a free VIP pass. But as far as that's concerned, we're trying to make like a free viewing area for the pro guys someplace else. And I'm saying that my ops guys probably going to go. But
man, I just see so many issues with that, to be honest. Number one, the stands are never full until Sunday afternoon,
and we could probably do something where we give them free stuff until Sunday. It's really on Sunday that's the problem.
Yeah. Then it fills up a little bit more. But then you also run into like, man, I mean, we're the show. It's funny that we just had Archie on the show last week talking about exactly this with like Go Sports. It's like we are the product that people are paying to watch right there. And so to not be able to view ourselves for free seems kind of crazy.
Dude, it's been free for me. I don't know what the problem is.
I mean, hey, I'm not going to complain too much. Agreed. But I'm not so much worried about myself. I'm more worried about
I'm just joking around.
The bottom 10 teams, that
and that's
like,
where you go, right? So we're pretty much, and that's why no one ran into a problem, right? As long as the grandstands are open, we open it up to everybody. We don't stop anybody. Yeah. It's more of a what are we going to do when it's full? And we've had this problem in the past where we've I had people that I was actually in line with a lady and they were so mad, and in my opinion they were wrong, but she was like, we drove 3 hours to come watch and you guys are sold out. And I'm like, and she's like, and you didn't tell us. And I'm like, well, we can't, maybe the last ticket was bought right before you walked up, right? Like that's not, we have no idea of when it's going to sell out. But at that same point in time, if I look over there and I see 20 pros, this is a family that drove 3 hours that we're trying to create fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no good situation there. Yes. In a perfect world. That's why we're trying to build a pro viewing area that you guys can view from, right? But it's not necessarily equated to the same thing as the Publix.
I think that would be amazing. I've talked to you about this for, a long time. It would be really nice to have kind of our own entrance and viewing area. It's amazing. And that's actually one of the comments here from Sean, takes away from interactions with the fans, which is true. It's great when the pros are in the stands. There's been a lot of times where, you have great conversations with the fans out there and connect with them while you're watching games. But from a professional standpoint, it would be really nice to also have our own area so that we can kind of stay locked in and be focused. And then we'll still be walking around the venue and going to our sponsors booths and stuff like that. And you'll still have access to us. But, there's that point. And then this is Verb's point, which I also agree, need them as full as possible. Those Friday morning games don't look ideal when you catch some grandstands in the footage. And that's totally true. Like, I mean, you've seen it, Tom, whether it's on Go Sports or like we do not want empty stands. It just looks so bad. I think whatever we can do to fill up the stands in person is probably really, beneficial to try to do that.
Yeah. And it's going to be a never ending thing, right? It's an inherent problem with sports, right? It's like, if we're there for 3 days, right? So there's obviously Friday morning games that are not as important as Saturday afternoon games or Sunday games, right? It's just how it is, right? So if we build the capacity for Sunday, then they're always going to be a little empty on Friday. So it obviously in a perfect world, all the games would be that exciting, but it just is never going to, there's always going to be someone that's not as good as the next guy. And yes, to his point, like I said, we're not trying to throw you guys out Friday morning. We're just trying to say on Sunday, you know, and yes, back to the other thing, I do think the pros should interact more. But at times of their choosing, it shouldn't be just constant access, right? It's not like
I agree.
You know, as a fan, you know, you want to interact with them, and I would encourage the pros to interact, right? It's important to build your brand as well, not just the league brand, but your own personal brand, right? Look at you two, right? You two have built your own personal brands and the play the game brand and yada, 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 right? So it's important to interact with those fans. You're building a fan for life. I actually just told a story back when I played in like 2004, some dark ages. I was crossing a street in Huntington Beach and I ran into these two paintball players. And they were like, "Oh, bad company, we like you guys. We shoot spiders, right?" So I gave him a jersey. That guy just came to our last Las Vegas thing.
Damn.
I've stayed in touch with him since 2003, 2004, and he stopped playing like in 2006.
Yeah.
Right. But he still follows what we do, right? So those little fan engagements build fans for life, and that's obviously anecdotal, but it's important.
It's everything.
It's very important. Yeah,
it really is. And yeah, that's why we understand obviously the value of the connection and the authentic connection too. You know, like we love this game. We love the community. We want to see it thriving. So we want to have everybody bringing that kind of energy into the pro circuit.
As a sport in general, from top to bottom, I believe we're more accessible than most professional sports, right? And obviously we're on the low end of the professional side of things. So, but yes, we're very accessible.
Yeah, man.
And I'm working on your thing, Marcelo. You may have a private entrance this year if all things go to plan. We already have a map going out internally, and we're vetting against our venues right now to see if it'll work.
Damn,
that would be amazing. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Again, it just helps before the games. You know, after games, when games are done for the day, it's easy to walk around and mingle. But you know, when you get there before the game, the walk from the parking lot, you know, to the field, you're kind of forced sometimes to be rude. And like, I hate that. I don't like just kind of blowing by people if they want to stop you. And so I try to give people time, and I know Tyler does too. But that definitely takes away from, you know, the goal and what we're supposed to be doing at that moment. Also,
when you have like a bad first day, or like you just got knocked out or whatever, the last thing you want is someone asking you like, what happened? You know what I mean?
That's not so much a concern. I mean, I agree that there's sometimes where right after a game, it's like, but you know, I'll be honest, those actually are sometimes the moments that turn my attitude around. You know, if like I'm really feeling sour after a match, and then a fan comes up and, you know, somebody or some kid just wants to chat, it puts things into perspective, and you kind of sit back and go, you know, it is what it is. Like, this is pretty amazing. I'm still pretty fortunate here. So yeah, it's not so much that to me, it's more so kind of the focus pregame. But yeah, that's an awesome development. I will, again, since we're on the topic, we'll just kind of ping pong here. Tom, having full grandstands is so important. I think we all agree. Please include entry to grandstands with the player ID card.
This is from the live chat as well, so everybody knows. This is from Young Stevie. He posted that. What up, Steve? Good to see you, bro.
Yeah. So is that an option? And, you know, I know we raised entry for pros this year. We can kind of talk about that.
We raise entries every time. And once again, you know, we had 6,000 people on site at World Cup, right? Yeah. So we had seating for, you know, 400.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just mathematically impossible. So, so that's with that program we're talking about. We're trying to increase the free viewing area.
Yeah.
So that you can be in the free viewing area. But once again, we want to, and nothing against the players, right? But that product, the grandstand product, we're trying to make sure that a kid can buy that. And if you give away for free, you never know how many people are going to use it. And we have people ask for refunds, like moms and kids. You know what I mean? When you get up and there's a bunch of paintball people in there, the moms are like, you know, this isn't fun for me.
Yeah.
And my kids, you know what I mean? So
what about for every event other than World Cup? World Cup's its own thing. I understand.
Still 3,000 people. You're still talking 3,000 people.
Yeah, but Tom, this whole last year, even on Sunday, in all the other events, the grandstands were not full.
So we could maybe come up with an idea where we rotate it, where like we give certain people, you know, the first 100 to register or something weird like that, right? But we couldn't give everybody, right? Because then you're going to tell people no at some point in time.
Yeah, but I mean that's better than than having empty seats on Sunday.
You say that, but it's hard. People get really mad. It creates a big scene when you tell people no at the gate when they're
I
trying to
could
get in
imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. They've traveled. Yeah, like you said, they wanna watch some paintball. And it is something that we want to make sure the stands are full. I don't know if maybe the prelims, you like open it up a little bit more, and then on, like you said, on Sunday, it's like closed off for the public because that's when it really gets crazy. But it's definitely something we want to have as often as we can. Those stands looking packed out. It's good for the optics. But it's a juggling act, making obviously everyone happy in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty cheap to buy a grandstand ticket, right? I think it's
Yeah.
like $10.
This is interesting actually. Because I did kind of feel this. I did kind of feel like there were a little less people in the stands this year at World Cup even. But he goes, Cup 2 years ago, being in the grandstands is a core memory because of how slammed it was. Last year wasn't the same. He's saying it's because it was paid, so not as packed, but that's obviously anecdotal. We don't know why it wasn't as packed.
They're both paid. We've never had a World Cup that wasn't paid.
Mm-hmm.
See, there you go. Anecdotal right there. It was interesting though. It did seem like 2 years ago it was a little more packed. And even 3 years ago, I feel like it was a little more packed.
So one of the things that we're seeing is with the push of Sunday events, right? The Sunday only events, you're seeing less people watch and more people go play again.
What do you mean the Sunday only events? You mean like the 7-man and
man, all that stuff, right? As those have grown, you're seeing more people stay and go play that than you are seeing them go do fans. But that's one of the things we have two mistakes that I think we've made as an industry and us, right? Is we treat World Cup special. So we do this tour, and really the reason you do a tour is to recruit fans, right? That's the reason you do a tour. And so we treat World Cup like everybody's going to come to it. So we make this big special presentation at World Cup. And we want to start recruiting fans from everywhere and making every event more special from a fan engagement point of view. You know what I mean? So we're going to start doing more like contests, t-shirt giveaways, and interactions with the pros. We're going to have more autograph signings at all the events is kind of the plan. We got to get buy-in from the teams and the sponsors, of course, on that one. But, so we're really going to make a push to kind of start making the atmosphere more fun to go to, so that it's, not just about paintball, which is still going to be 90% of it, but we're going to make that 10% more fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, actually, I just took my my sons to the Phoenix Suns game on Friday night, and we had a showdown with the New York Knicks, and we took them down. I can't believe we beat the Knicks because they won the in-season tournament. They're looking good, and it was a fun atmosphere. My 8-year-old boy and my 10-year-old boy were just absolutely hyped off of, you just have random people going through, throw a couple shirts. It wasn't much. Even for that size of a stadium, they threw out maybe, like in our area, like four shirts or whatever. But what it did for my sons is it made them go crazy. And then you have like a little show that they do, or these fun little things that they do to interact with the fans and keep them entertained a little bit. It does add something to that presentation. And I know we're such a small sport at this level, but I think anything like that, it definitely would be beneficial for that engagement. Like you're saying, the Savannah Bananas, they do it the best with how they bring their show to these stadiums. And you have all these different sports venues that do similar things. And I think it's something to look at. Definitely. Yeah. All righty.
Tom, you still got us?
I got you.
He's ready to move on.
Planning arguments ahead.
Oh, no arguments. I don't have any. Yeah, we're not here to argue. Sorry for throwing you.
Stevie's $10 is a.
Okay.
That's where I get whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were reading. So while I was talking,
sorry.
he was reading.
Sorry.
Okay.
Here we go. Ultimately, we're trying to create excitement, young Stevie says. When you're walking around the venue and you hear the grandstands roar, it's awesome. Fan acquisition isn't worth dying on the $10 sword, he says. And I do agree. Again, like when the stands are packed, whatever you could do to have the stands packed, that experience is so special.
Here's the question. So here's what he's saying, right? So let's just go through this. So why would you want to have a customer acquisition?
Make some money.
Okay. So if you acquire them, giving them a free one, then how are you going to activate that activation on the next step?
Well, because you're acquiring them to be customers of the league and come participate.
Okay. So now let's go with what he just said. He's done his own circular argument. So last year everybody was there and the excitement was great, right? And then this year it went down. So if we would have given all those people free stuff 2 years, obviously that wasn't enough on the acquisition side. It wasn't exciting enough for them to stay, even at the $10, right? So they may have stayed for free, but if they're not going to stay at $10, then you know what I mean? Then it's not worth acquiring them.
Well, I don't know, because I feel like I feel like yeah, but Tom, I feel like in their mind they're saying, look, we already paid $3,000 for entry, we paid this for paint, we paid so much to be here. Do you want a nickel and dime for $10 for us to sit in the stands when the stands are empty?
But it's not $10. That's like saying we're nickel and diming you for a case of paint for $25 or whatever, right? Like it's everyone there's buying a $10 grandstand seat.
Yeah, we're talking, what is that? $4,000. You said 400 seats. Is that right? Yeah, $4,000. So I mean, yeah, it's significant. It's a chunk, but at the same time,
day.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we could get 400 people in the stands on a Friday, shit. I mean, that's amazing. But again, it's just not happening. And that's at World Cup. That's not how many seats there are at the other events. It's like what, 100 maybe
200, 280, I believe, something like that.
Still a chunk. So,
I'm saying maybe we give away the first 280, right? But I can't, no, because it's almost like you have to build to create that, you know what I mean? If you're going to give everybody free, right? Basically, if you're only giving the first, So if we sell 100 tickets, let's just say, right? So to people that are willing to pay $10, right? And then we give away 2,800 seats. So do I build the capacity of the 2,800 so the 100 can sit? Or do I just say that we're sold out after the first 180 people want the free ones?
I think you keep building. The bigger it looks, the better.
So the more I build, the more it costs. It's not just seats aren't free to build.
You got to spend money to make money sometimes. You got to fake it till you make it. Yeah.
We keep spending.
Hey, let's talk about some good stuff. We're up in the prize packages. I think it's what, $15,000 for first place now. Yes. Entry fee has gone up a little bit, but the return is pretty nice. It was $8,000 before. Now it's $15,000 for first, and I think $5,000 for second. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, so that's nice. Is there any increase to paint? I know that's something a lot of people have been talking about, that there's going to be like some.
We don't. I saw a post, right? But we don't control the paint price. We've been always an advocate of not controlling the paint price. If we're not incentivized to have paint prices go up. That's a market question. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? We don't advocate for. I'm not over here trying to make paint prices go up.
Yeah. You know what? This is the first time you've been on our show since New Year, isn't it? So happy New Year to you, Tom.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good. Yeah. Remember we say we're actually saying Happy New Year to every single new guest that comes on the show.
Okay.
Unless we've seen them. Unless we've seen them.
What is the first show you've done since the New Year?
No.
We had Archie.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
I thought yeah.
You just, World Cup ended and Tom was gone. Just
disappeared.
Peace.
Yeah.
Sayonara.
Yep.
Yeah. How was your vacation, Tom?
It was
much
great.
Earned,
it was great. I went with my dad, my uncle, and Dave Painter and his wife. It was really good. Really good.
Awesome.
Nice. Anything notable? What was a highlight of the trip? Where were you?
I was in Botswana, Namibia, and Zimbabwe.
Epic.
So yeah. I mean, I rent a truck and drive around and camp and, do that whole thing. So I like that. So nice. It's not everybody's cup of tea, that's for sure. But we saw lions. We saw lions eating on an elephant, which is cool. We saw wild dogs, which are one of the rarest dog species, So it was cool. Elephants, probably 1,000 elephants, something like that overall.
Damn.
I was there for a long time. So
how long were you there? What was it?
Probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Epic. Verb had his question is always iconic, and this is a great favorite meal you had while you were in Africa.
I ate a lot of steak. They have a lot of cheap steak there.
There we go.
When you say cheap, like what's like a 12 ounce,
I'm gonna say $8.
Damn.
Damn, that
Nice.
is cheap. $8.
It's actually
no,
not
it's
that
pretty
cheap though. To
It's
be
a cheap
honest.
trip. Everybody, I mean, I think
Yeah.
if you go on a traditional safari in Africa, you're looking at like $16,000 a person or something. We're probably doing it for like $4,000 a person because we rent our own truck and we camp most of the nights. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
hotels are relatively cheap where we're at. We're out pretty rural.
That's
we
a
did
real
do
adventure.
Victoria Falls, which is a little expensive. It's like a couple $100 or whatever when you do that, but everything else is really cheap.
Yeah, you're on the real adventure out there. That's the real deal.
Yeah, we're a little on the adventure out there. Yeah, and it was
Damn,
really
awesome.
this time we had 2 trucks. Normally I only have 1 truck, but because the painters were there, they had their own truck as well. So getting stuck was less of a thing. So
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a long haul. 3 weeks.
long haul.
Yeah.
Tom, I want to address this as well, because again, when the rumors were being had about raising paint prices and all that, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, or if it's none of our business, that's fair too. The league doesn't make money based off of how many cases of paint are sold, right?
That's
Don't
correct.
Yeah. So here, Verb, this is correct. The league does not make money off paint sales. The vendors pay to be there. And so whatever they do with their paint prices is up to
Correct.
them.
It would be no different than me wanting goggle prices to go up or hamburger prices to go up, right? It's got nothing to do with us.
Because they pay a flat fee to be there.
Yep. And to be honest, right, like, so that's why I'm a free market guy, right? Like, and it's, it is what it is. If we wanted to get the prices go, we would go down to 1 paint vendor or 2 paint vendors, and then the price would naturally go up because there'd be less competition, right? At 4, inevitably someone's always trying to be, win a little bit of market share or something. So, and it's I don't want paint to go straight to the bottom, right? I wish if you had a premium product that I want them to make a premium product and I want them to charge whatever price that is for that. Right.
Agreed.
But by no means am I going to try and regulate that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with the conflict of wanting to regulate it. And I agree with wanting the paint prices to stay up. Actually, I heard Ryan talking about this on their show, and I agree. Like, kind of wish paint prices would go up a tiny bit, and the paint manufacturers would make a better ball. It would be awesome if, I think Ryan's floated this idea a few times, probably to you as well. If you just raise the cost of paint by like $2, and then for every case sold, $1 does go to something for the league or something for the players.
Right.
And he has obviously it's his case to build, so I won't speak for him, but maybe there's something there. I don't know, but yeah, it is kind of tough. Again, these paint vendors are paying to be there, so it's really up to them what they do with the proceeds.
Yeah, exactly. What they sell it for.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of paint, while we're on the subject, we had a yellow ball at ESPN. Is there any way that we can look to adapt into the yellow ball as we move into our
Needs to happen, Tom.
Everybody's shaking their head.
There's things that just need to happen. This is one of them.
We've asked paint companies, I believe, by the 3rd or 4th event to have I don't have that exact detail in front of me, but
of course
to go to yellow.
Yes.
So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
First event. What's
because there's a lead time between how long they have to order supplies and make paint. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So
yeah,
is that far out? I thought it was like 2 months.
I'm just going by what I'm told, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could obviously do some stuff, but if you've already bought all your raw materials for,
That's
it's not
right.
my job to manage what they do.
Okay.
They don't really care what the color of the shell is from a performance from their point of view. They just got to make sure that, I don't want to make someone buy a bunch of new peg or a bunch of shell colors or whatever that is, gelatin.
That's exactly right. They already have a ton of it. So we got to get through the color we're on. But I think that, and there's a lot of science, and we kind of hit on this. I think one of the last times you were on the show, that tennis went through a similar scientific kind of theory on how to make the ball and what color, and they landed on yellow.
There's some challenges there, right? So it's twofold, right? And that's why it's a bigger question. So the ESPN show was an unfair thing because we only played 3 games on there, and you guys barely shot any paint.
But it looked amazing.
So what happens is when you have the same color shell as you have fill,
you can't.
As time goes on, it gets harder and harder to see.
You can't have the same fill
on a very green surface. It obviously shows up. So we're obviously looking at every option, whether it's trying to use AI to illuminate the ball or ultraviolet to illuminate the ball or something like that, right? We're obviously exploring all the options that we can.
Of course.
Yeah, we are trying.
Yeah, and who's to say that paintball always has to be played? I mean, most major sports aren't played in the sunlight. I guess baseball, you got football, but a lot of them are in stadiums and under the lights as well. And maybe someday, 10 years down the line, we're playing underneath some type of a light that illuminates the ball as well. So you could have the bright white light with like a black light merged together, and
Correct.
that looks amazing. But I think, honestly, with the paint shell color that we have right now, we're so close. It's just literally the exact opposite. You just make it the yellow shell with a pink fill, and then that way. And I know you can say what you want about the pink, but you have to have something to pop the ball off of. And if you, like you said, if you have yellow, or pink, it kind of blends in. But if you do a yellow shell with a pink fill, the yellow ball is going to be popping off that pink color that's everywhere. And
Right.
it will look really nice.
I mean, the glow balls, I mean, they're pretty intriguing, right? They're pretty impressive how they work. So, so yeah, it's, that could be the new frontier of something we're working on. And we are working on some stadium stuff. I think stadiums are a way to go. I mean, we're obviously doing our first pilot was the ESPN thing inside a stadium, but then this year we're going to be in ESPN or in the Buck Stadium to start the season.
That's crazy.
Which is cool. And then I see Marcelo's queuing up there. And then hopefully, we can move further down that line.
I'm curious how that's going to go, Tom, with being in the stadium only for one game. Are you guys going to set Go Sports up in the stadium and then move it? Or are you going to set up two separate, so how's that going to work?
It's going to be a little combination of both, right? Stuff that's expensive, we will move. Stuff that's cheap, we will set up two of. So yeah, that is what the plan is right now. Yeah, no, it's going to be, I mean, that part is going to be challenging for us, right? But we think the win is worth it.
And what do we think the win is? Like, what about being inside the stadium is impressive to us, other than just like it's kind of cool for the players,
So from my point of view, it could fix a lot of things, right? And I don't want to get too far into what I envision the future be, or sell in the future, should I say, because I don't want to, be trying to sell something that won't come true. But so you think about it, right? A stadium fixes a lot of our problems. You just traditionally have good grass or turf. They got unlimited grandstands, right? So giving away those free grandstands isn't such a big deal because I'm not building them. Some of them are climate controlled because they're indoors or whatever happens, right? And we've had offers to be in stadiums before, but I've been concerned about being in there, both because of the cleanup and how we're going to leave it, right? The last thing we want to do is do significant damage to an NFL stadium or somewhere where we're going to get a bad chip about it, right, in the industry. So once we did the ESPN stadium, we instantly went to the NFL stadium and said, hey, we want to try something there, right? So then if the next step is next, let's just say in 2028, the pros are playing 5 events in 5 stadiums, right? So now, and I'm not saying that's the ideal world, but it could be, right? And then now we already have it built for TV because we have the cameras. It's going to look better on TV because it's inside of a real stadium. And everybody's also going to know where it's at. So right now, let's just explain where you're at World Cup. You're like, where are we playing? We're playing in the Cow Field at the intersection of 192 and 407.
I say we're playing at the Gaylord.
Right next to the Gaylord, right? That's what you say.
Right there. It's on Gaylord property. Isn't that Gaylord's property?
No, it's not the Gaylord's property.
I thought it was. I thought that cow pasture was there.
No, that guy, the same guy owns the Gaylord's property as owned ours, but it's not owned by the Gaylord. Got it. So instead of saying we're next to the Buck Stadium, we're in the Buck Stadium, or we're in the Dallas Cowboy Stadium, or we're in, the Green Bay Packers Stadium, or the Baltimore Orioles Stadium. You know what I mean? It adds a level of legitimacy that would be cool. And also it gets us to where we want to go, there's lots of different paths that I'm exploring at all times, right? So if we ever decided to go the pro only path where the pros are playing like traditional sports type models where, Dynasty or Damage is playing Impact for an hour-long session, the stadium makes it financially feasible because now we're not building it from scratch.
Sure.
Right? We're going in there and doing it. And, there's just so much. There's bathrooms, right? Let's just go through that, right? There's bathrooms. So when your parents come to watch you play, instead of going to a porta potty, they're going into a, something that was built for the Dallas Cowboy fans, right?
That's a legitimate thing. And
I'm not saying it's perfect. There's still a lot of challenges in it, but, I'm I try and explore every option we can. And one of the reasons why we didn't do the full tournament there is if we do run into some unforeseen problems, like we're hard on the grass or paintballs are going out of turf or whatever happens, right? We want to be able to contain that. We don't want to have to be there for 3 days and then have to either write some huge check and then have Tampa telling everybody we don't want you in the stadiums anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that goodwill is worth a lot to us to be able to go and say, hey, if you have any questions, call the Buccaneers. They're going to say that it's okay to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. And because of when you're talking about being in the stadiums, it's these standalone games. Like, all right, Friday night, you can show up here and watch the best paintball players in the world showdown, at the Buck Stadium, and it's one game. And then, like you said, you're not burning through the grass and having to pay for all that.
The other thing we're trying, right? So we're going to do Thursday night in the lights, right? I don't know if everybody knows this, but we'll go ahead and do it now, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I pulled up that question from Verb. You
in a good way or a bad way, Verbal?
Yeah. People are going to realize how much different it is to play under lights and daylight. I think in a bad way. I think no matter how good the lights are, it's going to be very difficult. Paintball is just a very difficult game. Tracking small paintballs is much different than tracking just one football or something. I'm excited for it, though. It's going to be a very cool experience, but I do think it's going to be difficult. Also might get surprised. The lights might be so incredible that it's different than anything we've ever experienced,
Yeah.
They do. They have amazing lights in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. All right, yeah, so he thinks it's going to be harder. That's fair. And we'll find out. But so we're going to do Thursday night lights, right? So we're going to play he's talking about in the dark, yeah. So we're going to do Thursday night lights, which is going to be the top best 8 games theoretically of the prelims are going to be played that night. We're going to push that for fan engagement back to everybody in the free seating. We're going to have free seating.
There we go.
So
hey, let's test this damn theory. Show up.
Yeah,
show up.
For real.
We have free stuff.
Gonna,
you guys better show up.
Hopefully we have, some type of, outside broadcast opportunity with that event, right? So, and we're going to have the top 2 WNXL teams playing in there as well. And so this gives us a chance to try that whole thing. I mean, I was really impressed, and a shout out to the people that came to the ESPN show. Like we made an impact on Disney and ESPN, right? Because of how many people showed up for paintball. And that's a thumbs up. It's a good thing.
Tom, I just want to give you a little more credit for that entire thing, because that is still being aired on ESPN. People in the Discord have shared they're at like a local bar and it's playing literally in the bar, the 3-on-3 ESPN thing. This was like a week ago, and so it's still getting coverage and getting exposure to the masses, so people wanted to hate, it's the Ocho, it's this, it's that, but it's getting seen. What we do is getting seen still because of that. It wasn't just kind of a, one and done thing. Like, it's still being aired. It's still getting views. And I'm sure the reason it's getting aired is because I don't know, maybe the numbers are good.
That's everybody's always like, it wasn't any good to watch and all this stuff. And I'm like, so what evidence do you have? Have you talked to some network executive that told you the numbers were down? Because they keep airing it, and they've told us the numbers were good. Right. So, it's funny, sometimes we use anecdotal evidence and we live in an echo chamber, right? If one person doesn't like it and they, and paintball people traditionally aren't going to like necessarily what everyone else likes. Right.
I think it wasn't the format. It was just simply, again, it is anecdotal, sure. But I think it was just that it looked cool. It looked professional. It was in a stadium. It looked like
professional.
It looked
in the stadium.
Yeah. Nice. Like when I watch cornhole, it looks professional. They got nice polos. They have really great banners with sponsors around the thing. Like, to me, that's what's intriguing. It's the visual stimulation that I'm getting that rings some sort of professionalism. That's what captures me, and I think it's what captures most people, even if they don't know it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the way the paintball kind of history happened was we found a cool game, which was playing Army basically in the woods, right? But we couldn't show it to anybody. We couldn't be cool because we were in the woods and no one could see it. You're like, somewhere over there, Bob Long is doing something really cool. Just imagine. Just imagine. Whereas it's really fun to play. It's not necessarily ever going to be something that's, epic to watch. And so we came out of the woods to kind of build this for TV. And I just think the stadium thing is potentially the next level. I shouldn't say it's the holy grail, but it's a good thing, right? And then it also makes it easier to film TV, right? Because you're not rebuilding everything from scratch. Like, we build everything from scratch as an industry, right? We have our own scoring software, we have our own format, our own bunkers, our own everything, guns, goggles. You know what I mean? We're not using anything else that anybody else uses, and so that's a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, the thing is, like, the same people that'll complain about, they'll be like, yo, you're charging us for the stands. They won't show up to the stadium. It's like, be about it. If we're going to say these things, I'm telling you, this Florida event better be slammed out with all these free seats. And anybody that's complained, get your ass over there and sit in the seat and cheer on some paintball. Let's go.
I always want to hunt those people down. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's. I always say that, right? I use and I think I probably even said it on the show, but like, when I dated my woman for maybe 5 years when we lived in Florida, and an ice cream shop shut down. It was like a historic ice cream shop in the town we lived in, and she was like upset that it shut down. And I'm like, well, we never went, and I like ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, we lived a mile away, so you can't be mad at the shop or mad at the town or whatever. We needed to go. I'd have went there every day. Support my local ice cream store. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta support it to do it, right? And and it's up to us to make the product that people want to support and come see, right? So a little bit that's on us. But we're gonna, I'm gonna speak out of my mind, but we're gonna do a lot of stuff to bring out like as many people from the local community to the game,
awesome.
and try and create that ambiance.
How amazing. So? What type of incentives are
like the Boy Scouts, local?
Okay, that
stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a great idea. Again, it just show people, hey, look what we have going on. I mean, I've never met a stranger that I've told or shown them an actual event and not had them say, holy shit, I had no idea it was this big.
Absolutely.
So that's an important message to continue to drive home. It's an important thing to continue to expose people to.
Even sports people. And that's kind of where we're going with this, like, testing the stadium thing, right? So we are probably more sophisticated and professional than even we give ourselves credit for, right? And the rest of the world definitely doesn't give us credit for it until they see what we do, right? I mean, we build a miniature city. We bring in all sorts of people. We have a very loyal fan base. We're very, we're pretty sophisticated, like, when it comes to what we're doing, and the teams have been around for a long time and they have a following, and we have ownerships of teams where you guys are negotiating contracts and doing all this stuff. We're way ahead of a lot of the emerging sports. Really the biggest hurdles we face are the things that we just face inherent in the game that we like, right? Which is, we shoot paintballs that are 68 caliber size, which are small, and they shoot fast, and it's hard to make moves because people are really good shots, and yada, yada, yada. So it's that stuff's just a challenge that we have to overcome.
What time on Thursday is the game starting at the Buck Stadium?
That's something I'm not ready to give.
Okay, fair enough.
We still have some more details to figure out all that.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be sure to post up in the chat and let everybody know.
Look forward to the next week. We'll start advertising the matchups and that kind of stuff, right? And what time those matchups will be.
Nice. Speaking of that, Tom, I got a bone to pick with you.
Bone to pick with me?
Yes, you directly. This is 100% your fault. No one else's fault. All on your shoulders, and it's unacceptable.
Perfect.
What the hell, Tom? World Cup finishes, and it's like crickets. How is there no buildup and story about the like the Tauntauns game against Red Legion? And I was being facetious when I was saying this is all your fault, but like, why is there no, like, the Tauntaun Red Legion game was epic. What an epic storyline, especially for, Fedorov and that the comeback to take them down and then move on to the semifinals. Like, all year long, we tell everybody World Cup is the biggest event in the world. It's where the superstars are made. It's where the biggest stories are. And then we have World Cup and we have all these stories, and then World Cup ends and there is absolutely nothing from anyone other than photographers, videographers, and podcasters. There is no league content. There's no Go Sports content. I know they're working on Road to a Championship, but that's not going to be out till like end of February or March. By then, it's a new season. People are over it. Like, it's our Super Bowl, and you have all these massive storylines that we hype up all year long. And then as soon as it's over, it's like those things never happened. Those big moves at World Cup never happened. Those big moments at World Cup never happened. We can't do that. That's like, we are really dropping the ball there.
Fair. So since it's all on my shoulders now, we'll just make sure it doesn't happen again. What do you want me to say?
Well,
Can't go back in time and fix what we screwed up in the past, but I can make sure that it doesn't happen again.
I mean, we're on the same page, though, right? We understand how important it is to like immortalize these stories, right?
Page. We're on the same page.
Okay. Yeah, because it's, again, back in the day, we had magazines, and then there's been this shift to online. So we don't have, we got Great American Paintball has made a little bit of a return, but like we really need to do, Go Sports needs to do a really good job of creating superheroes. Like, again, this is like the foundation of people giving a fuck about wanting to watch us perform. Excuse my language.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So,
I watched the Green Bay Packers play the Bears the other day, right? And I'm not a fan of either, right?
Yeah.
And no offense to anybody, right? I don't have a vested interest in either. And so I almost called someone to bet with them just so that I had a reason to want to watch. And then I just turned it off, right? So you're absolutely correct, right? It's not, we need to build the stories and kind of do more with it. I'm not saying that that's
wait.
That's wrong,
when did you turn that game off?
Yeah, and do you know what happened?
Yeah, I do know what happened.
Oh my god,
I did find out later, right?
But
it's hard if you're not, and it's like it goes to the storyline, like you said, right? Like, if there was an old guy, I would have watched it, right? If suddenly,
no, you got to care.
Totally.
You got to care about someone, right? It's like when Mark played the one-on-ones. I was rooting for Mark Johnson the whole time because he's the oldest guy in the field, and I'm like, I just root for the old guy. That's my mantra because I'm like, I could do this. Don't make me suit up, boys. Kind of deal, right? So, it kind of makes you feel, you root for somebody.
Right.
What it is.
And I agree with you, March. There was some insane moments at World Cup. A lot of them. The
biggest stage. The biggest
stage.
Just
the Dynasty Joy game. I don't want to take shots at myself, but like,
the
Dynasty Joy game was like a 10-year. I was excited.
Yes.
And that's what I always use as my barometer to our.
Because you guys screwed Joy 15 years ago so badly.
To our media guys. I always use this argument to the media guys. Like, if I am asking around the venue about how that game went, that was a story we needed to tell, right? Because I watch a lot of paintball, right?
Yes.
And I know a lot about what's going on. And if I'm excited and I'm interested in a turnout, that's something we need to push. We agree that is one of our. We should be more of a marketing company than a logistics company, and we currently are more of a logistics company and a marketing company. It just comes down to bodies and resources, right? So we just need to do a better job at that.
Yeah, because it's almost like each event just gets its own standalone, media and attention, and then it's over, and then there's a little bit of storytelling till the next one, but then it's a new event. That stuff all needs to be connected on a string, you got to keep
an overarching strategy for sure.
Yeah, totally. Actually, Brad from Paintball Ruined My Life did an amazing piece on the Joy Dynasty rivalry, and
he does great stuff. I love his stuff.
Yeah, he did a really good job. Like I was there live in person during that match, back in
I was too.
Yeah, you definitely were. And his piece that he did kind of reminded me of everything. I forgot a lot of like how it went down, and I actually saw new stuff from the footage he shared and opinions that changed my opinion on it. I always thought that it was righteous that Dynasty won. They definitely should not have won that game. Joy got absolutely hosed for sure. And it's one of those things that like it made me really interested in watching the Dynasty Joy match at World Cup. Like it did, that storyline was powerful. This should
elaborate on me. How did they get screwed? I'm intrigued.
The biggest reason is Dan Perez
get screwed, and I always just kind of turned that off a little bit. And I wasn't in charge back then, so it wasn't my fault. I don't think I was in charge.
The biggest thing is like when you watch it from the one angle, you can't see. I forgot who it was, Savon maybe, that runs down to bunker Frazier. Like it doesn't look like he gets hit, but you can't see the front, so you don't know. The biggest thing is Dan Perez just completely lied. Like he said one thing. He said that he shot Alex after his armband was pulled, and that clearly wasn't the case. His armband never got pulled, and so it was like Dan Perez straight up lied, or was, I won't say lied.
Yeah, I wouldn't say lie. Yeah, I would say he was given information
he gave information that was definitely not correct. So I'm sorry, Dan, not to say lied, but definitely not correct, because it was like his armband was pulled and then he shot the player, and then you watch the video and like his armband never got pulled. So that was I was like, that definitely seems controversial. The whole thing looked a little fishy.
It was. If you ever watch, when you watch old 7-man stuff, it is the freaking wild west.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
it is. If you want to talk about coming leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
right? It is significant.
That's right.
Better.
I agree with this again from Sean here. What about Matty Marshall? Full recap show after an event, like maybe before event, to highlighting who's hot, best moves, layout talk, etc. I know they have had them for something like that before, and that's the thing is, it has been done, but it's never been done consistently. You know, and I get it. You know, it's time is money, and money is time, and all that stuff. But like,
I can argue both sides here. I can try and defend it, or I can just say, yeah, consistency is the most important thing, right? Yeah, Thursday night football. I know there's Thursday night football, right? Consistency is important, and yes, we need to up our game there for sure.
What would be your defense?
after Thursday night football, I know on Friday I'm getting the full scoop on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm just agreeing that consistency is important. I agree
for sure.
And yes, Matty should do that. I'll be sure to tell him you told him.
I'm gonna tell Matty. We're long overdue for a lunch. I miss Matty. Got to go have a nice conversation with him. But yeah,
it's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, Tom, this is something that this is something. No, you're right. We will. Yeah, we'll put him in the hot seat. This is something even we, like Tyler and I, talk about it. You know, when the time comes when we stop playing, like there's a whole market. Actually, if anyone listening wants to do this, you can probably launch this right now. You could have a YouTube channel that is like an ESPN First Take or, you know, Around the Horn or whatever. And after every event, you can talk about big moves and matches, and you're probably going to gain some traction, you know, and then you can make money off advertising, whatever. But like, there's a whole.
There's people do it. I mean, every so often you'll have a new guy come in and he'll do it for 3 weeks and then he's gone. Right. It's a lot of work. But yeah, I believe there's opportunity, but everybody thinks it's all free money, right? When you want to do a YouTube channel, right? It's real work. You just
real work.
You got to grind it out.
But it should be part of the Go Sports business model, because I do believe it'll directly translate.
You do know we're separate, right? We're not the same people.
Well, yes, but I've had you on the show. Yes, and I'm always saying that. But you have said on this show that now you are a little more in charge of Go Sports.
A little more involved there.
Under the umbrella.
So, that's what I'm saying. We're trying to fix some
nice
stuff.
Try. Nice
just
try.
Saying, but it is
Tom.
two separate entities, right?
Correct. Yes, but we want Go Sports to do well. We want Go Sports.
We want Go
make
Sports
money.
to do well.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Marcelo. There will be a direct ROI that is a net positive off of content like that, because you're going to do exactly the reason that I watch Ja Morant play for the Grizzlies, or I go and I watch, you know, this certain football player, is because I'm falling in love with those stories. I'm a fan of the player. Ja, he could be stepping it up a little bit, but you know, like, let's go, baby.
We're at an interesting crossroads, right, as far as the player life cycle is concerned, because a lot of this generation, right? Well, you guys, you know, Alex, there's a lot of smart people in this generation, right, that are also could bring that stuff to a show, but they're just all still playing, right? So we've kept this generation alive for so long that there's not a lot of retired people that are qualified that are going to have the street cred, if that makes sense, right? So, you know, no offense, but it's going to be hard to be a non-known entity and talk about, you know, what, you know, Impact should have done against Damage. You know, and I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying it's not going to be easy.
No, I disagree. Like Steven from SVP, he did a great job, and it's not. He doesn't have like, you know, he's not like a high level pro, you know. But like, and these analysts don't have to necessarily say like what should have been done. You more so just talk about what did get done, you know, and you can kind of allude to why.
Yeah, but in order to have the great following, though, I think it helps to have been a marquee brand, right? I'm not saying you had to be a great player, but you got to be a marquee brand. Like,
if it was under the Go Sports umbrella, you kind of already have that prestige. It gives it some of that prestige, you know. This is something Tyler and I absolutely want to do. You know, we're just still playing, so it's not part of our you know, it's not part of what
that's where I saw that. I was like, this would be perfect for you two, right?
Totally.
Well,
yeah, like I have definitely, you know, dreams of that being part of what Play the Game is, you know, like after events, doing full breakdowns and keeping people super engaged and having high quality content with Telestrat, the whole thing, right? Because I just think that it will pay dividends to the sport, you know, and viewers and keeping people engaged. I think it's very, very, very important. Speaking of that, let's talk about some upcoming changes to the league. A lot of exciting stuff. Can we share? I think some of it's been made public already.
Limited paint, I think, is probably where we're going with that, right?
Yeah.
So the pros in the US will be going to 5 pods.
Nice.
Love it.
So
There
that
you
was
go.
that was implemented by the pros themselves, not necessarily us. That was I mean, we obviously facilitated the voting and all that, but it had been lobbied to me forever, right? We've explored at different times. We're limited paint in Europe, so we've tested it, we've vetted it for a while, right? And so we're going to go to limited paint with the pros and see if that changes up the game a little bit.
There we go. I think,
Um,
I ran around this weekend with 5 pods. Definitely, it's like, whoa, okay, a little bit more mobile, a little quicker.
A little quicker.
know?
And
Yeah.
that's
Better
one
on
of
the
the
back.
things.
Yeah,
That's one of the things that, like, when you talk to people outside or like the view of paintball outside, it's basically that we miss a lot. I think Verbal's most watched video would be a guy dumping his pod when he tried to load, right? So, 1 pod per person, that's like 140 shots per person you have to eliminate. So that gives us a talking point, at least on the 5 pods, right? For TV.
yeah, and also it's a little bit more digestible for a viewer when they look and they see, an equal amount of paint on each player. I know that's something that I hear quite a bit. They're like, why does that person have like a turtle shell whole deal on their back, 19 pods, and then that one has, 3.
And it is funny how it like progresses, right? Someone that might have 6 pods in the prelims will suddenly have like 13 going into the finals, waddling out to my point. And I'm like, all right, this is a prime specimen of the game here. What's going to happen?
I mean, by nature, less paintballs to fire. It is going to make things. They'll move into the later tier moves quicker, just naturally.
Well, that's what we hope. That's what we hope.
I'm curious to see how it plays out. But
yep, we're going to see this season. And Tommy, there was also some talk about going to a point scored as opposed to margin. Is that something that you guys have?
Yeah, so we're still exploring that, but I mean, I think everyone liked that idea. I hope everyone liked that idea that I've talked to about. Everyone I've talked to about it got it. Some people deferred, they wanted to think more about it, but the basic gist is to use points for in games 1 as the tiebreaker.
That's right.
So, and just to explain to everybody, one of the problems we're facing right now is because of the differential, teams, when there's 2 minutes left and you're down 2 points, some teams may not elect to try and basically do an all-out assault because they don't want to give up more points and create a worse differential. So they've basically conceded that game at that point in time and have basically said, we're not going to risk it, right? Because obviously trying to win 2 points in 2 minutes is a high-risk situation. So,
but I guess they would still do the same if it's only sorry to interrupt, but if it's only points scored in games 1.
Yep.
If they're in a situation where they're going to burn the clock because they want to lose by a low margin, that means they think they're going to lose the match. So they're going to do the same thing.
No. It's just a high risk, right? So the odds of winning if you've only, let's just say it's 2-0, right? I'm playing damage and I'm played, for 13 minutes and I've scored and I've lost 2 points. It's a low percentage that I'm going to manage to pull off. Matter of fact, it's a low percentage for anybody at any point to try and win 2 points in 2 minutes, right? And in the finals, you would try it. If it was the last game of the tournament,
right?
If the World Cup was on the line, you would not just come out and play a 2-minute point down by 2. Well, that's the same thing is going to happen every match because, well, maybe it won't, but
no, because Tom, what I'm saying is a team against damage or a lower tier team that thinks that they're going to lose the match. So they want to keep the way it is currently. They want to keep the score close. So in the prelims, they just run the timeout. If you change the rule to be only points scored in matches you win, the same thing would apply. In that same match down 2-0, I'm not going to say to my guys, let's just go try to score a bunch of points because if you already think you're going to lose the match, the margin's not going to matter. It doesn't count, and you don't want to risk injury. Whereas if it was points scored in every match, then you would get what you're talking about.
But there's another problem there, whereas teams will just run up scores, which is something we want to avoid.
Isn't that good for TV?
I think the teams are going to try and sack as long as there's enough time. I mean, you could throw the injury thing in there, but if you got a chance to win, I think you're going to take the chance to win. But we'll see. It's not going to. It is. The current thing is currently, in my opinion, not working great.
Oh, actually, I've got a good counter to what I was saying, Tom. So if the margin doesn't count if you lose the match, I was saying that you wouldn't be inclined to try to close the gap but actually you would, because it won't go against you either. So like
Correct.
if you lose 0 to 5, it won't go against you.
Right.
Okay. No. I just kind of talked myself through that.
You just like, I mean,
you should have had that argument ready.
1 minute of an NFL game, and you're going to throw, you're always going to try and score. If you're down by 6, no one's going to kick a field goal, right? It's because it's not like missing creates worse loss.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
so you should try and just, I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, to be honest, I want people to fix bayonets and try and make it happen.
Yeah.
Right. And some teams will, and there's always going to be a team that's going to play like they should have took up tennis or something.
Tennis is highly
aggressive. All right, ping pong.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess everyone's going to talk about.
You've seen those ping pong players?
There's an entire movie about it.
Yo, do you know who Marty Supreme is, my dog?
I do not.
Marty Supreme. Let's go.
I do not.
Oh, you got to go. You got to get to the movie
thing, right? The more times we go at each other to some level, especially. I mean, there's nothing. That's what I like about sports is that do or die situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we want to incentivize is that
we want do or die situations. We don't want, we don't want accountants to win.
Now,
right? No, they're shocking my accountant, right?
He's just going for it.
Yeah, you're just shitting on everyone, Tom. Just, hey, screw all my customers.
Yeah, we don't want accountants to win. Well, we just don't want you doing the math and just saying, like, if we shoot 2, like the old 10-man days, you shoot 2 bodies and we'll move on.
Yeah.
And then everybody just sits and hides.
Okay.
That's right. We want to incentivize the movement, the high action play, and all that.
Team to win, the team that's the best at being the attacker, right? We want teams. It's no different than the NFL, right? The NFL has made it so high dynamic offenses is what gets incentivized, and that's what we want, right? And it changes, if you just want it to be the finesse of the game and all that quality stuff. Maybe that's what we want, but for right now, we're trying this thing. So
do you foresee there being an issue, Tom? Because this definitely has happened in the past. When a field plays fast, obviously that makes for longer games. When points are quick, it makes for longer matches because you have to go to the time in between. Do you foresee faster games causing an issue to where we're running out of daylight? Because that did happen at some events, to where it was pretty difficult and a lot of games went beyond their time.
To me, it could potentially. I mean, that's something we'll have to see, but that is a challenge that I'm willing to face because I believe the dynamic game is more important.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show. There was also... Go ahead, March.
Yeah, is there something we could explore with the running clock, like what you guys did at ESPN? Like, can we maybe... I know it's a drastic change, but I really like that.
We're going to do the running clock with the 3v3 this year for the whole season, and we will try and just work out any bugs and any unforeseen glitches in that before we move it to our core product is kind of the thing. I know there was some discussion about maybe getting rid of split deck and going to the running clock. And I'm all for getting rid of split deck as long as it's feasible. Right. But I just feel like part of the problem with all that stuff is it increases roster size, right? A lot of stuff is going to increase roster size. And that's an unforeseen consequence, especially for, teams that are financially challenged. Right?
I want to say this. Before we, and I'm a huge proponent of getting rid of split deck, always have been. I do not want to do it until Go Sports and Major League Paintball are ready to absolutely utilize the time in between to do what's necessary. Because last time when you guys did get rid of it for Sundays, Go Sports didn't do anything with that 2 minutes. And so it made us all look kind of dumb. To me, I always was a proponent, same with Tyler. The reason we get rid of split deck is so that we can storytell in that 2 minutes in between, go over instant replays. And I felt like that time in between points got underutilized. And it's like Al Michaels, one of the greatest commentators of all time. He's under a lot of scrutiny right now because he hasn't had the same level of excitement during big moments in some of these football games. And the NFL recognizes how much of a problem that is. If there's a situation on the field that is, of high magnitude, the commentators are very responsible for expressing that moment to the viewers and making the viewers feel that through their commentary, through instant replays, through like that is again, it's about the production, not so much the content itself. It's about the production around the content. So I would hate to see us make that move and then not be ready to capitalize on it with Go Sports, because I think that is a huge part of it.
So we'll just say that, like, safely, we are kind of moving towards that to some level, right? Like the getting rid of split deck and maybe going to a running clock, because the running clock fixes a lot of inherent problems we have, both structurally and for TV, right? So I think the running clock is the future that we're going to go at, but I would like to let it test in that 3 minute. That's a valid point, right? Like, we need to revamp and up our game and our whole media side of things, right? And we've been pushing that. I mean, last year we're in the progress of pushing all of that stuff. So yes, we will continue to explore that. We'll see how the 3-man does. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would love to go to a running. I mean, to me, the running clock is the perfect thing. Clock, when your match is
running clock with a minute in between.
Running clock with a minute. So in one of the
90 seconds would be ideal, but 90 seconds would be ideal, because it would help.
One of the solutions we came up with was to add more timeouts, right? So you can cut the time between points to keep it exciting, but we give each team more timeouts. So if they ever need to slow it down, we can, without saying every point's going to be slower, right? Because I don't mind tossing out a bunch of 30-second timeouts, because it's a finite amount.
Right.
And so, we know exactly how long that's going to take. So we are working on some stuff, but running clock is really something unique and new. And I would like to run it through the 3-man, and just because there could be some unforeseen consequence that we didn't see.
Mm-hmm. If you went to single deck with all the pro teams that we had, would we have to create another field to make? No, it would all be still okay.
No. So the problem is, if you do a running clock, right, and let's just say you give everybody 1 minute between points, right? Mm-hmm. So, and let's just use the simple math, and let's just say that it's a 30-minute running clock, right? That means when the point starts at 8 a.m., it is going to be done at 8:30, regardless of what happens, right? So if you played 15 points in that time, for math's sake, right, you would also then be not playing for 15 minutes. So that is the time limit that we'd have to get you to get you playing the same 15 minutes. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
So right now you're playing 15 minutes. So the more points you play in a running clock format, the less time you actually have on the field.
Makes sense.
Right. So we gotta work those numbers out to make sure it works. And I do, we would like to add a halftime, like we'll call it a TV timeout for commercials or whatever. And kind of give everybody a breather, right, to re-strategize and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's gonna, in the long run, I think it's gonna make the game deeper. A lot more time to explain it, because the game is pretty finessey now, and we really can't explain that to everybody, right? So, I mean, I don't know how many times you've been asked, people like, so why don't y'all just all run down there? Or why does everybody just shoot all? And I'm like, it's
a great opportunity to explain it. Yeah, try it. Just wait till we put the buzzer in the center.
Yeah. So it's there's a lot of stuff that's challenging, right? So but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a kind of a neat system, and it just makes that urgency. It makes it something the customer understands. It gets rid of conceding, right, to some level. Yeah,
it makes it much easier for the consumer. Absolutely, when they're watching it, bouncing back and forth.
It's also kind of a format that everybody's used to. Every other sport's really using a running clock.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Right. If you look at our game, every point's a play, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And so in an NFL world, right? So this is every point's a play. Every except for the fact we won't have a stoppage when we do that, but you got to run it. And in the long run, maybe if we do end up being the NFL style stuff, then maybe the points do create a stoppage. But for right now, we would do a running clock just so we know.
Maybe the running clock stops too in the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
So that's where the timeouts will come in, right? That's where I think the timeouts fix that, because if let's say I'm down by a point and there's 30 seconds left, right? You are then going to use that whole 30 seconds for your thing. But if we throw a timeout, it would just stop the clock at that point, and then we would still have 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Right. So it brings that strategy just like an NFL game, right? Like if there's only 30 seconds left in a game, they don't move the ball unless there's a timeout, right? We just sit on it and just go to that, whatever they call it.
Victory formation.
Victory formation. Yeah. I mean, how long does a victory formation last, right? What is that in a game?
Well, it depends on how many timeouts the other team has, but it's like what, 40 seconds ish, each time. So if you kneel once, 40 seconds, and you have 4 downs. So yeah, it just depends on how many downs. But yeah, sometimes almost 2 minutes gets eaten up.
That's right.
Just the victory formation,
So we're in the same ballpark. So that fixes a lot of that, right? So
yeah, and shout out, I gotta show some more love to the GOAT Squad. They're in here tough. And if you want to join the Patreon, which is connected to our Discord, check out our website and click that orange link at ptgpodcast.com. And shout out to Verb. We got Verb in the mix here. What up, Verb?
Yeah, he's got another great question. He's been asking for this for a long time. Tom, I know you're already aware of this question, but
I give it
real
to
quick,
you occasionally, Verbal.
Yeah, hold on. Let me ask for the listeners. Verb wants to know, but could we get one long end zone to show off the game properly, so that we can see paint flying in lanes?
So I believe we do it, Verbal, every time we have the ability. I don't believe we have the ability at World Cup, but yes, I will make sure that we mandate that every time if we can.
Yep. And then he actually, shout out to Verb, man. He was in the GOAT Squad and kind of laying some parameters. But I think it would help the media gang on that long side there with the optics there.
Yeah, it's obviously super important for them, but if it's important for them, that means that it's also important for Go Sports, so Go Sports to be able to have those angles, from pretty far back, to capture similar things. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
And then, the out of bounds. We got to talk about.
Oh, yes. I have that rule pulled up right here. Tom, right. I know this is a Jason question, but again, this is 100%.
Went out of my scope. Okay, I have an opinion.
This is 100% your fault. This is
I will
is
get in
on
trouble.
your shoulders.
I don't know anything about the where we're at on this.
Yeah, so the out of bounds rule. There's just some rules in the rule book that need clarification. That's all. There's in the rule book it says, eliminations. Player is eliminated for going out of bounds or moving the boundary tape. But you have to clearly define what out of bounds is. Is it foot on the line? Is it any part of your foot over the line? Or does your entire foot have to be over the line? In football, the line of scrimmage is a line. It's a boundary. And a quarterback only has to have some part of his body behind the line of scrimmage in order to complete a forward pass. He can still be over the line. Whereas the out of bounds is if you even touch the line, you're out of bounds. So I think we need some clarification because obviously we had, the situation with Jacob at World Cup in the first point against Fit. So we need some clarification on what out of bounds is. Okay. What do you think it is? What should it be?
I think it should be completely out of bounds. Like something, if there's a white line, which gets run down very often in our events, right? But if there's a white line, it should be clearly out of bounds.
I agree.
So what did we decide? What did we do?
We don't know.
No, we don't know. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing. There's no decision. They didn't make the call in real time. I mean, it happened so fast. Have you seen the video?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Jacob went corner to corner, bunkered the fit player, and then as he's going to the buzzer, he steps on the line, but he's definitely a little over the line too. And then shoots Chavi in the back before hitting the buzzer. The ref was right there, didn't call it. In slow motion, you can see it. In real time, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
But there's no definition on
the back line or the sideline.
The back line.
So yeah, I mean, in that situation, I almost feel like the aggressor should be. I mean, I'm making this up. This is purely just the Tom Cole opinion, not the opinion of the league. But
I so agree with this.
I think the attacker should be able to pass that back line, right? All your momentum's going right. I think it's a little.
That's actually what we talked about
to try and make you stop and kind of play that thing, right? There should be no back line out of bounds, because the reason why the back line's out of bounds, we don't want the home team to use it, right? They could go behind that bunker or whatever they can do, right? Is a clear thing. But from my point of view, once again, my humble point of view as just a former player, is that I would want to be able to use that line. I would feel like that was a chicken shit call for me to go and say you didn't win the tournament because you stepped on that line or whatever happened there, right? Win that game, win that point, yada, yada, yada. So
we agree. We actually talked about this. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was in the in the GOAT Squad or on a show, but we kind of dived into the topic there. And we were like, the back line, what's it doing? The side, obviously, you can't have people running down the side out of lines. But that move was so clutch. And from what I understand, I think he went to go bunker the snake player. There was nobody in the snake. And then he was like, fuck it, I'm sending it. And he went all the way to their corner to corner. Amazing move. You got to reward that. Give that boy the buzzer. You know what I mean? That's great.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Now, I do think it's important, and it comes into play for the home team, like off the break. We don't want players to be able to run like a foot out of bounds, because that definitely affects shooters, and how they're shooting.
That's right.
But yeah, it's one of those things in that scenario, I think is definitely, yeah, I pulled it up here on the screen just so people can see like exactly how it's worded there. But, because then I also wonder, Tom, if that is out of bounds, then how come when people hit the buzzer and then go over the thing, they're not eliminated? Because if someone hits the buzzer on my team and I step 1 foot out of bounds, the ref is like, oh, you're out. You don't count as a live body anymore. So why does that not happen to the players that go over the boundary? You see the refs always check them and then give the thumbs up if they're not hit.
Because technically, like, they were eliminated. Over? The game was over when they hit that buzzer.
Well, I know then. So why am I eliminated? So when that happens and the refs, call the game because the buzzer was hit, if I step out of bounds, the ref, this happens all the time. If like someone puts their barrel sock on as they're walking, they're like, oh, you're out. And the reason that matters is because if the player does have a hit, you want to make sure that you have enough bodies to pull, right? And so there's a, inconsistency there, I guess.
So, yeah, I mean, there's two reasons for that, right? I mean, no good ones. How's that? the first would be like once you put your barrel condom on, you're signaling you're dead, right? So it would be, let's just say there was one bad guy still left alive.
That's a bad example.
I mean? Yeah, that's why I said none of them are good. Yeah. Just giving you the reason why the barrel condom thing is in there.
I'm saying from my end, that's a bad example because it doesn't relate. Let's stay on track with like stepping out of bounds.
I agree. I believe that it's
got to get Jason on.
How's that?
Come on, Jason.
I'm gonna say that. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
How's that? I agree.
Fair. Well, I'm not even saying that I think one's right or wrong. It's just, it's funny how it's called, because that's all I'm saying.
To me, the guy that hits the buzzer, once he goes over the buzzer, he ended the game, and we can't eliminate him for that forward momentum. You just accidentally walking out of bounds because you're milling around or whatever. I mean, to be honest with you, it behooves us to make sure the lines are correct.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
That's going to be a problem. I mean, we were just in Europe and we had a call where the guy went out of bounds, and he ran clearly like a significant distance. That was your team, I believe. It was the Luckies in Portugal, or your former team, the Luckies in Portugal. He ran out of bounds to bunker the guy, and
oh, I do remember that. I do remember that.
We didn't go out of bounds. There was no line. I'm like, well, you went over about 8 lines. You know what I mean? Like, it was a old turf field. So you were like, that guy jumped across all sorts of lines. So it was pretty obvious that he had done that. But, we need to have clear lines. That's on us to make sure,
I got to be honest. All this stuff to me, like, obviously it's important, but it's in the grand scheme of things. We have such bigger fish to fry. Again, I want to keep our focus and attention on the media.
Which to the point, right? Like I had to see the rule or understand the rule before I can make a decision, right? It's really, we have the pro teams and Jason and all those guys and the referees that we have, Dan Perez, who came up already, right? They work with the rules and kind of fine tune those a little bit. And I prefer stuff to be the more black and white, the further along we get. Obviously that's our kind of a mandate, but I don't dwell in the rules too much. I do get involved when we're talking about like, points for and running clocks and all that, because we kind of came up with that. But yeah, it's a thing, right? It's a lot. We have a lot.
That's right. There is. Yeah.
We have a lot going on. So
what other exciting stuff do we have coming in 2026? It's a new year, new season, a lot of momentum. What can the listeners expect to see from the NXL and Major League Paintball that they might not know about yet?
I mean, I think we hit on everything on the show. I mean, we're the 3v3 is going to be a unique product this year. We're really trying to do everything we can to separate it. Chime in. We have a slight push to go to like not coaching, but fan engagement from the sidelines, moving the fans back a little further and allowing people in the 3-man to kind of like cheer, right? Because it is talk about that fan engagement, right? We will try and do our best, and anybody's got ideas and stuff that we can do at the events to make the events more fun for a casual spectator, right? Not necessarily whatever. We are going to do a we'll announce this here. I probably once again get in trouble. You guys maybe say stuff early, but we're going to do our entry level 3-man divisions. We are going to, if you have 2 players that haven't played with us in the past 5 years, you get a free entrance fee.
Awesome.
Look for more details of that to come.
Cool.
And that's about it.
Tom, I think a big thing, it's really tough being a spectator in the grandstands. I understand why the grandstands have taken a hit. I do prefer watching on Go Sports. I prefer it. I see more of what's going on.
That way in every sport, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. No, a lot of people really enjoy the experience of going to football games because, like you're talking about, the experience. There's little things that I believe we can do for the in-person experience. One is simply having a scoreboard. There's at World Cup, there was on the far side, a little hard to see, but all the other events, I'm pretty sure there's not a scoreboard, or there's not something for people in the grandstands to easily understand what's going on. And then they have no audio either. So whether it's like, we could totally copy all these other sports and do it the Kirkland version, it doesn't matter. It'll still be something. In between points, have music playing in the stands, have maybe an announcer, make sure that they have a scoreboard so they can keep track. Like when I'm watching from in the stands, majority of the time, I have no idea what the score is unless I've kept track from the start of the game, but I definitely don't know how much time there is. And as teams are walking onto the field for the next point, I'm like, what's going on? What's the situation? Is this team up a point, down a point? Because this matters. It tells me what to look for as a fan.
So the scoreboards are up at every event but World Cup. Traditionally, it's not been at World Cup because we have a split VIP/grandstand. So that's typically, we don't have the scoreboard up at World Cup. We always have the scoreboard for the grandstands at the traditional events.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard to see from where they are.
Huh?
It's hard to see from where they are. And so the traditional grandstands can see it. The VIP can't. They have like some TVs up, right? But like, wouldn't it be nice to have like a LED thing right there on the net that you're all able to see super clearly, that's like really in your face and you always know what's going on. You don't have to break your neck to try to find the situation.
Okay. Yes. I will look into that. I didn't realize it was a problem seeing the scoreboard from the grandstands.
It is. And a lot of people have talked about this for a few years now. It definitely is. And you're right. You do have it. But it's hard to find. It's hard to see. It's far away. If you're in certain spots, it's blocked out. It's not, that should be something that is like really in like every corner, where you're just like,
and that's one of the things we're doing a deep dive in. That's why I would like any insight into this. This is completely open book. I'm not trying to shut stuff down, right? Like I always argue everything, right? I think we all have established that now. But I do drastically want to improve the fan experience, right?
Yeah.
I think that is the next big challenge that we have. We worry a lot about format. We don't worry so much about the fan experience. And I think those are probably both 2 serious ingredients of a successful product, right? So I do want to hear some of that feedback, and that's kind of one of the things. Like you're in a battle between the sound that we want to have, like because we want to have commentators, right, and say, hey, this is dynasty versus damage, and this is important because Marcelo just quit his team, and now he's going over there, and they're undefeated, and now we're going to see if Marcelo can help lead this team to victory, right? Or Mouse or whoever it is at that time, right? That's the drama we need to build so the fans understand that. But then we also, Go Sports is kind of live there like college football. So we just have some challenges logistically on our end that we have to overcome. And we just need to know what the fans think is important, right? So feel free to message me or whatever. And we can kind of digest that and kind of go through that. Because, yes, I anything that we can do to make the fans experience a little better is something we should be doing. So, and I'm open to all suggestions. That is a new road we have just started to try and drive down.
I think starting out simple, again, just making sure that understanding the score and clock with team names, is important, obviously. And then in between points, have loud, fun music playing. It just keeps people's, emotions high. Obviously, you run into an issue with announcers' audio. There's maybe you could have the announcers in between points have that part of the audio live for the fans, and then when the point
starts, might be just as easy as having a dedicated mute person for right. Once the game starts, we hit mute.
Right.
Sure, there's an AI bot for that. But yeah, we'll look into that. I appreciate that insight there. That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, shoot.
Is there any changes to divisional rules or anything like that? It's strictly pro. Is that correct?
As of right now, yeah. So we've tried to push this agenda from the low end. We offered limited paint a couple years ago at D5, and it just was not well received. Our D5 numbers were way low, and then at World Cup, where we offered both divisions, the unlimited paint division way outsold the limited paint division. So it's something that we will explore through the pro side and see how it affects. And if there's a bunch of people that want to play limited paint, we'll offer some divisions that offer limited paint. But I believe it's for right now, it's definitely a pro only product, but we're not against moving it around. There's no reason not to. Just as of right now, the consumer has not indicated that they really want that.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that's perfect with the pro, and the sentiment from, because I go to the local fields, and I was just in Tucson and Phoenix and running all over the place. And, I'm telling them that, I'm rocking 5 pods, and they're stoked that they get to shoot more than 5 pods. They're like, they want to shoot the paint. And I think, and they understand it's for what we're trying to build in our niche aspect of what we're doing here and the pro circuit. So yeah, I'm cool with that.
I thought it would make sense to also do it for semi-pro, or at least a version, right, to kind of help make that leap a little easier.
That will be the next step. And we were literally just decided on Saturday, finalized, I think, that we were doing it right. So my next step will be to call the semi-pro teams and see if they want to go to 5 pods. And then also we will do the same for the Europeans to see if they want to go up to 5 pods.
And how about WNXL?
WNXL, I believe, is also taking that to a vote.
Nice. Okay, fantastic.
Self-determination. I'm big into the self-determination. Unless I think it's going to affect something on a bigger picture,
right?
Like the Americans playing in Europe. It's like,
over, dude. It's over.
We've lost that fight. Yes. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, even though there was a lot of pushback,
you really ended my favorite part about paintball.
Run was going to be good for the sport, and that's what I did.
Absolutely throttled my career.
That
Tom,
World Cup probably felt hollow. World Cup win was hollow that you didn't get to.
It was no thanks to you, Tom.
Continue that.
All right, Tom, you've been on for about an hour and a half. Your time is always incredibly valuable.
My phone is literally people are wondering if I've died. People are texting me.
We do have, thank you to all the goats as well that were live and asking questions in person. We do also have some Discord questions that we got to get to before we let you go. So if you don't mind, Tom, we're going to fire off a few of these.
I like the questions. I think that's the best, right? To me.
All right.
Oh, we agree. Yeah, the community is amazing. So here we go. This is from the one and only Ryan Brand. He wants to know, has the league considered requiring pro teams to have standardized structure to team names, like city and name? I'm not sure why or how we got away from doing this, but from the outside looking in, it seems way less professional than the early 2000s. San Diego Dynasty, Edmonton Impact, Chicago Aftershock, etc. sound like real respectable pro sports franchises. Wildside Distortion, Paintball Fit, ASG Aftermath, Tauntaun Arsenal, etc. It's getting pretty silly in my opinion. I'm currently embarrassed when a non-paintball person asks me who the number 1 team is. I respond a team from Dallas awkwardly because I think they will take the sport less serious if I respond Paintball Fit. If it was Dallas Fit or Waxahachie Fit, I would not have the same issue. I think this is a great point. And how do you guys feel about this?
Fix that tomorrow.
Let's go.
What do you mean?
I'll require, so in the 3-man, right? Because, in the next week, all the pros are going to get their 3-man pitch, right? That I'm building, right? And I'm going to require a city name, right? And we're going to go by last year's ranking, and we're going to require a sitting name. If the pro team's something that they want to do, then we'll make all the pro teams. I really got to talk to someone outside of my scope, right? Jason or whatever. But there is no reason why we don't require city names other than the fact that the politics of who got what name, right? I don't know if you know, we've had that problem before. We've had, Los Angeles Ironman, San Diego Dynasty, all that kind of stuff. But I do like the field being included as well, right? I'm not necessarily hating that. So maybe the team names would be San Antonio X Factor, brought to you by X Factor Park. Right?
That's because a lot.
That's a lot. We wouldn't always say that, but that could be part of their thing, right?
Well,
not
it's
every
implied.
Team has a field too, though.
And X Factor is, everybody knows X Factor Paintball Park is with X Factor.
Everyone knows they're from San Antonio. We got to go for the people that's not the everyone.
Yeah, but the city names is crucial. We got to have some city names on the pro team.
I mean, when I'm describing the sport to anybody, same as Ryan, I'm like, they're from Canada. They're from Norway or whatever, right? I never just say this team is from, this is, PB
Mhm.
Fit. I will say this is PB Fit. They have zero money and they're the number one team and they're beating big money teams. I do like that story. If there's any fit people on here. Yeah, I do that, but I do like to say San Diego Dynasty, Edmonton Impact. I mean, I will throw that stuff out there. And so, yes, I love that idea.
Yeah, it
Okay.
definitely
Good, you
sounds clean.
Dude,
All right.
we're making some progress here.
Damn. All right. The Summit Awards, that's happening as well, right, Tom?
That is happening in the stadium.
Okay, perfect. So what can people look out for in regards to that?
I would say in about the next week, they're going to get the timeline on that. That goes with the pro thing, but we will be doing it like right after those games end. Some of them maybe get done in earlier, like some of the more fringe ones, you know what I mean? But the core ones are going to be done right after the game. So we're trying to condense everything into that one spot.
Awesome. And
Yeah,
then
I
do
can't
we
wait.
have
It's going to be on the Jumbotron. And I'm actually
Damn.
going to, no one knows this yet but me, but I want to try and do it so that we can take shots of other places and put them up in the Jumbotron, like watch parties. And then the same way we can put stuff back to them, through the Jumbotron type of thing. So that's kind of what we're working on.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
All right.
dope.
And do we know if World Cup is going to be back in the same venue? Do we have that solidified for the season? Because there is no venue location that I've seen.
Yep, we will never list that World Cup venue. So that venue is something we don't sign that lease until typically August.
Okay, I see.
Wow.
Keeps me up at night. You guys want to see my hair's gray.
But it will be in Orlando, right?
It will be in Central Florida.
Central Florida. Okay.
He said that's
If
why
you
my
book a
hair is
hotel near the Gaylord Palms, there will
You'll
be
be
nothing
okay.
too far away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
And then we got the new one in Delaware at the Dover Speedway. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yep, I'm very excited about that.
Oh,
going
is
out
it?
there.
I know this was a question from someone in the past.
In the
It's
Speedway.
not. So wait, it's
No,
on
the
the
Speedway
gravel.
has a huge grass like venue across the street. So we're in the venue across the street.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice. It'll make for good photos in the background too. All right. Nice.
Yep.
How far is it from the closest airport?
Far.
How far?
Maybe the hard questions. It's about the same distance from Atlantic City to Philly. How's that?
Great answer. You
Thank
don't
you.
want to say an hour and a half?
An hour and a half. Hour and a half.
Yeah, Delaware is kind of tough to get to.
Well, and I've just seen it over my 10 years, right? That I've been finding venues for people is the airports were built, 70 years ago. And so urban sprawl is really starting to like push out, especially in the mid-Atlantic and those type places where you just can't get close to the airports anymore. As build outs go that way. I mean, so
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No
All right, I
doubt.
got one from Blaine Tor. This is a great one. He's wondering, Tom, when are we going to get the sidearms rolling? Remember we talked about that a while ago.
It's never happening.
I was just on a call this morning about that.
No way. No way. What?
So, yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
Wait, were you really?
I literally was, yeah. I was
Oh
on
my
a call
God.
with a manufacturer about sidearms. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm working something. I'm
Okay.
working a hustle.
Okay. All right. HK, get ready to make a
Oh,
sidearm.
these are for the refs. These are for the refs.
Give it
Be
to the
for
refs.
Let the refs shoot
Yes.
players that have
Yes.
obvious hits on them. That would honestly be so much fun to watch.
If we want to give a guy a pistol to shoot at a guy that the next point is going to be carrying, 700 rounds on him. That's a good idea. That's a good
gotta
idea.
increase the penalties.
No one would ever
All right.
shoot the refs.
Oh God, don't do that. Yeah, please do not do that. Yeah, it's
Or-
the sidearms is a fun it's a fun adventure someday. We'll get there. We'll get there, people.
I just
We'll
have
get there.
this dream of your gun going down and you just dropping it and pulling out the sidearms and one shotting someone. So
Yeah, all of a sudden you're John
that's what
Wick.
gets me excited there, Tyler.
Yep. I see it.
All
Let's
All
go.
right, for Leaf for Life, which is Nick Sloviak. He wants to know, we've increased the number of bunkers on the field, we've increased bunker size, and we've created new shapes. Why haven't we reduced the amount of bunkers on the field to see, how it would play? An example would be a layout from, say, 2006 versus today.
It's a good question, Sloviak. Hit me with the hard ones. I would say I don't have an answer to that. I don't have an answer to that.
We talked about this with Archie and he brought up good points, and man, I also so agree. So it's funny. I feel like the limited paint is a good option. I really like it. We've talked about it. I'm in support of it. However, I think it's a Band-Aid to what the actual problem is. So right now, an issue is that you have a lot of players that can carry 10 pods and they could be in a spot and just shoot a gap. And there's no spot that you can get to put that player in. You can't see that player. So that's what's causing these fields to be really slow because there's so many bunkers. There's a lot of stuff blocked out. But if the fields were more open, bigger lanes, etc., I know we think that it would slow it down, but I really don't think it would, because you would have really good players that find a way to win a gunfight to make their move. You can earn moves rather than guess, and when you're guessing to go through a gap, it's a pretty big bummer.
So I guess it's not a good challenge because everybody can cheat the challenge, but so I have every layout that we've done for the past, I don't know, 7 years or whatever, and I have the average points scored in the prelims on that layout, right? We have that stat. And points have
the last 2 years is slower.
Yeah, it's gone down, right? I think me and you talked about this, right? So it has gone down, and I'm open to trying an open layout. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think since we added the beams, because 22 and 23 were pretty fast. They were good layouts, and you still had the big bunkers. But there was very few layouts that had, spots that were really easy to get into with big like crossfield gaps. And the extra beams, I don't think have done what we hoped they were going to do.
What year did you think that was?
2022 and 2023. I remember all of our Sunday games. I mean, they were pretty high scoring, especially for Sunday. It was like 5-4, 6-5.
Averaged 8 points a match, and 2023 did 6. 2024 did 7.
Interesting.
So the year we added the beams, what it looks more like from the numbers that we're tracking is when we add a new kit, those very next years we play more points. And then, and I'm not saying that there's that there's an actual cause and effect there, but that is what has shown true is once we have a kit, it's the points go up and then the points slowly decline. Now, I don't know if that's because we start to run out of ideas for a good layout and we're more concerned about a new layout than a good layout, which I'm not saying which side of that's right. Or the people just learn to play the layout better and they learn how that bunker works or whatever.
I would argue that you would have to only factor in Sunday because prelims, there's like so many variables. You have new teams, so you could have different quality of skill that's leading to more points. There's like a lot of things that could come into play. Whereas I feel
same on Sunday though, right? Because on Sunday everyone's in a lose or die situation, right? So you have no reason not to run the score up. Like if you're down 4-1 with 3 minutes left, you're coming, right? In the finals, you are going to come every point, and that will quickly throw those points way up, which is obviously dynamically better for us, but that may also throw that out. But I can run both numbers and see if there's a dynamic difference. Yeah. So I'll do that for you.
Yeah, because Sunday 2023, I felt like it was mostly high-scoring games on Sunday as well. And 2022 definitely was.
Our highest year was 2020.
Well, we played 2 events.
No. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, then 2021 was the next highest.
Okay. Yeah, and that was right before you added more of the big bunkers, right? Wasn't 2022?
No idea.
New bunkers were added. I'm pretty sure.
I have every layout attached to it, but I'm not going to go through each bunker and kind of figure out what we had.
I could be wrong, but I thought bunkers got added in 2022.
So one of the things we're working on, and we haven't finished yet, but like basically creating like, let's call it 3 or 4 classes of what you describe a field as, right? Like whether it's a good snake field, good Dorito, whatever, right? We come up with some classifications and then we go back and reassign them to the fields and see if that's an indication of what plays fast, right? Because I also have each individual event thing. So I just don't have the year. I have each event, right? So like our highest event was the 2021 Windy City Open, which was 10 points.
Wait, which event was that?
The 2021 Windy City Open.
Chicago.
Yeah, we Dynasty won that one. I kind of remember the field. Huh?
You can't say we anymore.
You can't say we. You can't say we.
Can't say we anymore.
Yeah, and if I remember, I feel like it was kind of a traditional snake. and semi-traditional Dorito side, they did have a 50 brick.
You can remember the layout from Chicago 2021?
You have it, don't you? Right now, am I right?
Have it, but I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah.
I could remember it while I was playing it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It's got a very traditional snake.
Yeah, and it was like
a very traditional Dorito side. So in the end, I mean, there's a reason why, and it's funny because like the fans love traditional, right? If Jason puts up a post that's traditional, everybody loves it, right?
It plays well.
And a traditional snake is basically the thing. And I don't even hate having a standard layout for forever, right? It'd probably get boring after a while, but I do like.
I don't love that, but
yeah, I know, but
I think it's such a cool part of our sport that we have like a new story every event. I think that is a really unique thing,
But it also makes it wide open to screw something up.
I don't know. Hinman does a pretty good job. You just don't have to don't get too fancy. You can make small variations each time. You don't have to get too fancy.
Yeah. I got you. But, I'm not sold on that idea. I just threw that out there.
And then this season we're removing a couple of the wedges, the big wedges. Is that right? And then we're going to have the new bunker that'll be taking the place of those.
Correct.
So those are a little bit smaller. So the optics visibly, if you're a little bit shorter, you'll be able to see over those better than you would a wedge. So you'll be able to have more visibility.
The other challenge Jason faces, he's trying to build one product for everybody, right? So we're trying to build something for the pros, and we're also trying to build something for the divisionals. And I'm not saying that's right, but that's been the current model that we have, right? And that's a big challenge, right? He's got to keep a D5 happy, and
they will be happy. I promise. When they're not happy is when everything's blocked out and they can't see anything and they have to guess and they go to make a move and get riddled in the ribs. That's not fun.
Yeah,
that's not.
It's hard though. So, what year do we think we had the wide open layouts?
The not wide open layouts, but in 2022 and 2023, the layouts were definitely a little more traditional and a little more open. Going back further, obviously we had less bunkers, so they were more open. I'm not saying that was necessarily better. I think we got to a point of diminishing returns by adding a lot of the beams. That's another thing. Maybe in 2024 we used them less. I don't recall a bunch of the fields being, incredibly cluttered.
Yeah.
Last year, 2025 felt a little more cluttered. It's just it's definitely something to be mindful of because, God, unfortunately, the layout really dictates the entire show.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
really does. Yeah.
No,
but we'll move on.
Could you imagine a layout with like the OG layout with just a few bunkers out there? Everybody trying to make it through the cuts these days.
Yeah,
I saw one of those layouts. I have one saved, and it blew my mind that we used to play that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how you like. There was like a little teardrop or something. I mean, like, how does anybody get behind that?
The cones, yeah, the cones.
How was stuck out both sides. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea how we thought that was. I guess we were such bad shots, and you know what I mean.
You're like, let's make this.
There's Bob Long laying in the open. I guess I'll let him live there for a while.
It was a bigger field.
I have no idea how that stuff was feasible.
Yeah,
the layouts were much larger too, so you had a ton of different,
So when a guy had to cut across an open, he had to leave that teardrop and run to something else.
Yeah, a wing nut.
Yeah,
a wing nut, probably smaller.
We actually we got Brett in the house. What up, Brett? He's got a question in regards to MLPB bringing back the flagship documentary, The Road to a Championship for 2026. Is that something that's happening?
Is that Brett, the guy that's selling us the documentary?
Yes.
Yes. Tell him no, I'm not answering that question on this show. Thanks, Brett. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
he's gonna tune in. He's gonna tune
really
in.
think we can create something special, give the opportunity to make one for each NXL event. Hey, I agree, but these need to be released sooner, Brett. Like, look, the ones for World Cup should have been released.
I love it.
Maybe within a month after World Cup. This is Tom. I'm with you. Like, if we are asking for opportunities to do these things, we have to make the most of them. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, And so, look, I would love for Road to a Championship to be every event, but when they're getting released like right before the following event, it's too little, too late. Like everyone's already moved on. Everyone's already moved on. It is cool to watch going into the event, but it'd be better to watch a few weeks after the last event because it keeps people engaged. People might watch that Road to a Championship and they're like, oh, you know what? I want to go back and watch the X Factor Impact game. Maybe I didn't see it, but now because Road to a Championship, I want to go back and watch it. I want to watch the Damage Impact game from Texas, and see what these moments, but when you do it right before the next event, people don't go back and do that. They say, oh, I'll just watch the next one. Like we got to do it right. We got to do it right. If you guys are going to hire them and pay them, and we're all going to make big steps to do this stuff, we got to be timely with these releases. Got to be timely as well. Yeah. But I love what they're doing. That Road to a Championship looked incredibly professional. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
They do good work. There is no doubt.
Without a doubt. And if you had like 6 to 8 of those episodes, I think you could sell that to a major company. I mean,
probably some streaming service for sure.
Yeah. You could put together a whole season with 8 episodes, and that thing would do well. Yeah, let's go, Tom.
Look at his smirk. He's working on it. All right. We got Fab from the Discord. What is the number one attainable yet challenging goal you hope Major League Paintball will accomplish in 2026?
It's a good one.
We only have good ones here.
I would say better content distribution is both endemically, like our own, doing a better job of our own getting the content out there, and also in the mainstream thing. Like, I do feel like, and I tell this to the pros a lot, right? I'm not trying to bullshit or sell the dream, right? But I feel like we are on the cusp of big things happening, right? And the ball moving quite rapidly. I mean, just in the short time that we've really been making this TV push, we were on, not live on the Ochos, and then for 30 minutes, and then the very next year we got an offer to be live for an hour, and then we're hoping this year is a better opportunity, and I think it's going to start to move fast.
Well, you can't deny the fact that paintball is captivating to anybody.
It's challenging, but I think it's attainable. So there's the answer to that question.
I love that. CB2K, he's part of the Macro Line gang. Tom, we have a whole chat room in the Discord chat where they all shoot guns with macro lines, the OG guns. Yeah, so he's part of the Macro Line gang.
That's a great question.
He's wondering, can we return to the head refs announcing some penalties post points, like how the NFL does it? So everyone is aware what penalties have occurred. It would help everyone to know what the actual penalties are when they occur. I think there's a lot of the times where the viewer doesn't really know what's going on. And if we could give that ref just a mic to intervene in the downtime, I think that would help a lot.
I believe that is in the works for this year.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
Huge. Yeah. Gotta have that. Again, it's the production, Tom. It's production. Been watching a lot of football lately, and I actually meant to take photos last night of the stuff that I wanted to share with you, and I just completely spaced it. But like,
timely. I need timely
simple things like right after a play, they cut to a graphic that has just 3 of the Packers players, but it's like an animated graphic, and it's Jordan Love and Christian Watson, and it's like a anime kind of thing. Literally, it's just a graphic, I'm like, oh, that looks like really cool. It's just visually stimulating, these kind of little things. Obviously, I get it. It's manpower, it's money, it's not free, it's not easy. I understand, but like any version of this stuff that we can do to add value to production,
sure.
The refs, going to the referee and having them explain to the viewer what that penalty was. Massive.
And we're kind of at a weird place, right? Just to put that in perspective. So the NFL, obviously, huge budget, great production. I mean, I think they're the best. Pinnacle of what sports needs to be, right? Mm-hmm. But when you go look at some other emerging sports that are probably ahead of us in the broadcast world, use cornhole, right? To be honest with you, the cornhole production is way below our production.
Sure.
So it's like we're in this weird niche where we're overproduced for where we're at in the hierarchy of sports televised. Mm-hmm. So we are already well there and spending a lot of money there. We just got to get it in front of the right eyeballs to make it happen. And I try and watch the NFL for ideas as well, but I really spend a lot of time watching darts and cornhole and lacrosse and those more emerging sports that I'm trying to see what they're doing inside their means and see how we're doing. And we're significantly more expensive to run from a production point of view than almost all those other sports.
The reason I think it's hard to watch darts or cornhole and make the comparison is because the games are just too different. Our game is complicated, like football. Football is complicated. You know, the rules of football, even though there's one ball, the rules of football are very complicated. You watch it with your girlfriend for the first time, she doesn't understand what the hell's going on. When I first started watching football, didn't understand what the hell's going on. I don't care that it's as simple as the ball has to get across that line. What are downs? There's 4 downs, and why is this? It's confusing, you know? And so it's the production, the explanations, the commentary, the replays that really do a good job of explaining that. Whereas cornhole, it's pretty simple to watch. You have something like lacrosse. There's a lot of, and simple to film. Lacrosse has a lot of participation that probably leads to their viewership. So obviously participation is a way for us to grow our viewership. But, you know, I've never watched a live lacrosse broadcast. I should go do that. But, you know, so I can't really speak to what they offer. But yeah, I see your point. I do think there's very inexpensive and free ways to increase our production. And one of them is the referee thing. You know, how hard is it to put
I love the referee thing
with a mic, you know?
Whoever the referee was, good one. We'll make sure that happens. I believe it's already in the works. It's something we go back and forth all the time.
Totally.
Awesome.
My last question from the Discord, and again, thank you all for asking the questions in here. There are a ton, but we already have had you for quite some time, Tom. Know you got to run. AAF JRT wants to know, Tom, we as a community put a lot on your plate, as you know. Has there ever been an internship program for Major League Paintball NXL to help offload some of those tasks? Hashtag will work for VIP.
Will work for what?
VIP.
You know, I've actually dropped the ball on a couple good opportunities for people probably to help us. And we did. Dave Painter just did an internship for a year with his whole family. So yes, if there's people that have skill sets that I don't have, which is vast, feel free to send me an email. I would love to do some stuff. Yes. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Tom, there's a lot of amazing developments that even we've just gone over in the show today that we're pushing forward into 2026. And it's an ever evolving program, you know, but the most important thing is the care and the intention and how hard, obviously, everybody is working on all fronts to make sure the media, the game, the fan experience, all of these things that we've talked about today are moving in the right direction. So we got to tip our cap to you on that. And, you know, the fact that, like I said, there's just so much care that's evident in the whole process.
I appreciate it. We do try. Yeah. We have a lot of group people that care about the game and are doing what they can to do it. We have great customers. I mean, I think our relationship with the pro teams is the best it's ever been. You know what I mean? I think it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
without a doubt. Crazy off season. We got like 7 kind of brand new teams that we're going to be seeing out there in Tampa. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I came back from when I first got to internet. You know, it's like I got, you know, moves that were like already invalid by the time I got to the next post. You're like, I guess I just skipped the whole cycle. Now I know who's real.
Yeah, you were like, holy smokes, what's going on?
A lot of moves. A lot of moves. So
definitely. Well, Tommy, thank you so much, man. And thank you to everybody who tuned in from the GOAT Squad in the Discord, our community. And thank you, Major League Paintball, for everything that so many people are doing on so many fronts through Go Sports and NXL and the entire conglomerate making this thing run. Tommy, thank you for your time, bro. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Tom, very much.
Appreciate you guys.
We will talk soon and keep pushing forward. Bye, everybody.
We'll do our best. Thanks, guys.
All right, baby. See you, Tommy. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.